Good morning, Daily Huddle. It is so great to be back doing the Huddle. I missed Thursday, I missed Friday, I missed Monday, but I'm here. I'm in Kansas City with Shay. Kansas City has treated us very well, but before we get to any of that, welcome to November.
November 1st, officially the last 2 months of the year. It's closeout time, baby. Finish strong. Obviously, the fourth quarter started last month, but it's really like, all right, now you're at the end of it. What kind of tone are you setting for the end of the year and going into January? Are you coasting? Or are you like, I'm just going to mail it in for the rest of the year? Are you really trying to lock in what's happening in January for yourself?
I'm really glad you went there because I thoroughly believe it's a momentum thing. There's a lot of companies, one of the reasons why I'm traveling so much, there's a lot of companies who are focused on, let's make sure that we're doing the right things now. It's not so much, what numbers am I putting on the board? Can I get the right behaviors? Can I get the right activities? Because then we roll right into next year. So lots of fun stuff. This is the 305th day of the year. Wow. I mean, when you look back, it's crazy, dude. It's just,
so like to say like there's 2 months left in the year is one thing. When you say that there's 60 days left in the year, it's like, wow, the year just clicked by. Like, yeah. I mean, then you look back on it, you're like, wow, a lot got done. Like Jules was born, book happened. Like it was a big year, but it's just crazy.
So I'm going to jump in. I want to share some stuff about Cincinnati. I hadn't been back in Cincinnati in a long time. Natty treated us really, really well. As you can see, David Aarons, who's the CEO of CR Architecture, it was their 40th anniversary. He asked me not only to their black tie celebration, but to the keynote the following morning. And at the black tie celebration, I wasn't really sure what to say or what was appropriate. So I just kind of went with my instincts. And he was doing some stuff and giving out awards. And then he introduced me as the guy that was going to kick off a day of learning and whatever. And I got up there and I said, first of all, thanks. Told them the story of how we met on the plane because of our blazers and stuff like that. And then I said, and as you can see, we actually really resemble each other. And that's by design because David has been looking for a clone. He's been looking to clone himself. And I am the new CEO of CR Architecture, man. It was like the room passed out laughing. It was really, so it was really great. Food was great. Hotel was great. Really fun stuff. So nice to be part of a culture that, supports each other. And they ate up my keynote. So it was really, really fun. And then Ryan Coleman asked, what about KC? So I get to travel with Shay, which is, we used to do it all the time. It's still kind of novel. Shay, show me the barbecue. So we had lunch with Nate and Jennifer from Lockton. If you don't know the name Lockton, Lockton is one of the largest privately held insurance companies in the world. We are fortunate to be working with some of their broker network. We'll have a whole group of people here today at the Lowe's. But the barbecue, Q39, wow. Chart, man. Burnt ends, brisket, ribs.
The burnt ends look ridiculous.
And I will tell you this, normally eat barbecue, and I don't care who you are, it kind of messes with your system. Did not mess with my system. It's clean. If there's such a thing as clean, quality of the meat, it was fantastic. So shout out to them. Great stuff. What do you say we shake this thing up, get to the huddle, wake up shit, and let's go.
No more sleeping in bed. No
You there?
Yeah, we're here. What
Hello.
happened? You good?
Nope. It's welcome to technology. I got nothing. Can you
Well,
hear me?
we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. There we go.
Did you get a little freeze action?
Yeah, it's like holy shit! Like what's going on here?
All right, but you're back.
I'm back. So let's talk about how proud I am of the Huddle. Cindy Metzler, who was a dear friend of ours, she writes for Forbes. And Shay showed me, she wrote this article, Think Like a CEO to Become a High Performer. And she credits the Huddle during the COVID shutdown. I started each of my mornings listening to the daily live stream, the Nudelberg Daily, hosted by father and son. So pretty cool stuff, huh?
It was awesome. It was super cool. I mean, super awesome to see Cindy's article in Forbes, and then really fantastic to see her mention the Huddle. I mean, she's a loyal member of the community. She was at the event last Thursday of the Women's Power Summit. So just awesome, and awesome to see the Huddle get some more recognition.
Yeah, it's funny because I obviously was not at that and didn't get a chance to publicly congratulate you. The feedback that you got as a moderator was pretty off the chart. I mean, I'm sorry I wasn't there to see it and be part of it, but you should be very proud of yourself. And
I appreciate that. Thank you. It was didn't come without trying. I can tell you that. The seat was hot.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Nothing. This is so true of everything that we do in life. People think it's a straight line to success. Most of what we do, the first couple of times you do it, you suck at it. It's like people look at me and they go, wow, man, you just stand up and talk. I've been doing it for 8 years, man. Sure. It's like, and my progression as a writer, as a speaker has gotten better. Yours was condensed. And I do want to bring this up. And it's not self-serving. I think it's valid. You had your opportunity to speak in front of teams for years, so you did it. The audience changed, but it is, you put yourself around other people who are speaking. You wound up being around me, and so one to one, one to many, one to a lot, one to large audience. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
Right. That's exactly correct. And I think, the thing that made Thursday night's event so incredible was the engagement, was the conversation that was happening from the audience. And while some of those questions that were being asked were a little tough and a little direct, it was great to broach those topics. It was great to really, create that dialogue, and, excited to see what we do with that as we move on.
I loved it. I thought that, Lori's comment about inviting men in to learn,
you weren't there for that, but that was the real takeaway, was that the boo-boo on our part was saying that it was a conversation for women by women, and not including men anywhere in there as, hey, you need to hear this too, right? And not, making it known that, yes, we want to have this conversation amongst women, but the real point is to get men included so that everybody's on the same page and, having the same dialogue. So it was great stuff.
Love it, love it, love it. So I thought I would move, because it's November 1st. I want to shake the month up. I want motivational music for the month. Something that, when we come out of this, I want to talk about it. But give me Lady Gaga.
Red wine, Gaga. I had a little bit too much. All of the people start to rush. Heard the twisted dance, can't find a drink of man. Where all my keys, I lost my phone. What's going on
So first of all, I love that song. She's amazing. I was just got into it in the gym yesterday about all Lady Gaga type stuff. But everything we do is a dance. If you get good at the dance, like what are you doing? You know, mirroring on or stacking on what we talked about last week. We get to do this. Like I could go, oh, I got to travel. I got to take a plane. I got to, I get to do all this. I get to be in a badass gym. We get to eat great food last night. I get to get in front of people and it's just a dance, man. So the rhythm of the dance of the music.
I also, the point of Just Dance, like that to me is you're approaching the end of the year and maybe there's the slightest percent chance that you're going to hit whatever your goal was. Maybe there's a 0% chance. Maybe it's mathematically impossible to hit whatever your goal was for the year, but that doesn't excuse you from just doing the dance right now, right? Like that to me was, in relating that to sport for me, the end of a game, you're getting blown out. There's still no excuse to not show up and play. I don't care if there's a quarter left, if there's 5 plays left, because that behavior compounds. So while you might not be able to win that game, you play the right way for the last 5 minutes of a game, and that carries you into the week of practice, which carries you into the next, game, which is the same at the end of the year. You play the right way at the end of the year, even if you're not going to hit your goal for this year, it's going to set you up to have success in the upcoming year and in the following quarter.
When I think about it as a dance, like a dance is a positive thing.
Right.
Cultures have dance routines, so it makes me go, okay, I'm just doing my dance.
Just
dance.
Right?
Just dance, man. Just
dance.
Just do the dance. I'm so incredibly overwhelmed by this. So part of my dance, for those of you who did not know this, was I wrote a book. So that has become fodder for the Huddle crowd. And from what I understand, Mark, you wrote a book as well?
I did. It did happen. And chapter 4 in my book is It's a Family Affair. And why would I be wearing this shirt today? And why are we talking about books today?
It is Happy National Authors Day. I can tell you this in all candor and honesty, that I never dreamed that I would be an author. It wasn't like something that my whole life I aspired to be an author. It just never really dawned on me. People had suggested to me, hey, you got a good story to tell. And for me, my story was about leaving it for Kai and now Jules. I want them to own something they could put their hands around and say, that was my poppy. That was, so I never cared about selling a book. I really didn't. I didn't do it for that in mind. My marketing brain said to me, this is a good way to market myself. And I can tell you this with absolute candor, that the minute I became an author, it wasn't anything to me. People were like, you're an author? Ridiculous. Hey, could be crayon inside the book. But, what's your experience?
To regardless of whether you wrote a 1,000-page book or a 5-page book, the work that goes into writing a book can't be excused or can't be overlooked, because the work is hard. Putting the story down to paper and organizing it and trying to get your words in a way that flow and makes sense to you. Forget about somebody else that reads the story, but just feels good for you to put it out there. But so had the opportunity to go see Stevie Nicks Friday night, and one of the best takeaways of the concert was write it down, write it into a journal, write it into a book. But she has books upon books that she writes, because she knows that once that moment is gone, time moves on and you forget what it was that you were thinking. You forget what really happened in that story, and your opportunity to really cement those memories and cement those lessons are to write it down. And so, thankful to you for pushing me to write my book, because, when I got out of football and realized that there was all of this knowledge and all of these lessons that had happened, trying to figure out a way to offer them to other people as a way for them to be able to use as a roadmap for themselves and learn for. It's an unbelievable experience.
So if you don't use it as an ego vehicle, if it's not about me, it's about me sharing my story. Oh, by the way, that's what's good about social media, is it allows you to authentically share your story. You get somebody like this that sends me a picture that this is one of the football players, obviously taking time off during practice. And what's next to him? My book. So it's like when this got sent to me, the chills that went down my spine, it's like you have no idea who you're impacting, when you're impacting, and it will be forever. People don't throw books away. It's just, this is something that's somewhere.
It's so true. Like, having moved a countless amount of times, way more times than I ever want to move. The thing that, like, every time as you're cleaning out and you're like, what's going to come with us, what's not, you might have a book that, like, you're never going to read again, but you're looking at the book and you're like, I can't throw a book away. Like,
the stories, the people, the stuff. Show me your stuff. I mean, you've impacted.
Yeah, so it's been super cool to see all of the people share my book on social media and share them reading it and share where it's been and the lessons they've gotten from it. So I'm overwhelmed with gratitude from the amount of people that have bought the book, that have read the book and reached out to me after reading it or shared it on social media. Like, shout out to Mickey, who gave it a 5-star review. And, the people who have commented on the post this morning, Greg Goldstein and Paula, just unbelievable reviews on what it did for them. And that, to me, is the real benefit. Like, regardless of what it does for me, the fact that it makes an impact far beyond I could ever make individually, it's the ultimate lesson.
Awesome. If anybody does not have my book, please reach out. I'm happy to sign, send it, donate money to charity, do whatever. Today, Locked In has 30 or 40 people in the room. I've signed all the books, so it's pretty cool. So if anything, books are re-gifted and the story continues, which is really true. So I'm glad Jen is here, because I'm going to bring up a piece of content that is appropriate to her. So today, in 1967, the film classic Cool Hand Luke opened in American theaters. Do you have the clip? So there's a famous clip in that movie that I use in all my presentations. Show me Strother Martin in the movie.
You're on good. Wish you'd stop being so good to me, Captain. Don't you ever talk that way to me. Never! Never! What we've got here is failure to communicate.
One of the greatest lines, one of the greatest movies.
Line is so good.
But, I mean, you want to look at something that sums up the State of the Union. We have a failure to communicate. And for those that want to learn how to communicate, we have something coming up on Thursday. One of our communication coaches, Jen,
it's a free workshop at 1:00 on Thursday, which I would say that if your role, if success in your role has anything to do with other people moving, with creating movement in other people or other people's actions, then your number one skill set has to be communication. So super excited to have Jen host a workshop this Thursday. It's kind of like a teaser and a kickoff event for her upcoming boot camp, which will start the following Thursday and run for a month. But it's a great opportunity. I'm excited about sitting in there because I've seen her content here and there. I've never had the opportunity to sit in for an actual full session. So I'm going to be locked in for 30 minutes and excited for the takeaways on how to communicate. So Jen dropped the link in there to sign up. So you can click on that. It'll take you right to a landing page that offers you the opportunity to sign up for the Thursday workshop, which is free, or the boot camp that starts next week.
Cynthia Barnes is here. Cynthia is a friend, a client, also a speaker. She actually was the first Black speaker at this major sales conference. So Cynthia, thanks for being here. Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. But I just saw a clip by Simon Sinek that I'll probably play in tomorrow's huddle. But he said, leadership or everything you do is about development. It's not like I planted a flag and I got here. And so leadership is a journey to always get better on how to communicate on all these different things. Lori spoke about yesterday that she wasn't always so good. She's gotten better. How do you deal with conflict? How do you, talk about, things with empathy? How do you really, really care about people? It's all part of communication. So I don't care what your role is in business. If you're a human being, we are social creatures. We are programmed to communicate, yet a lot of people just don't communicate. Listen, no fooling around. One of the things in my book is you communicate with your body too. You don't only communicate with your language. Yep. Like one of the things in my book was just smile. Yep. Look around, nobody's smiling. This is a happy occasion. We are getting together with someone who is a professional. She delivers the content with style, with, a comedic flair to it, and it's free. It's like, what would be the barrier to say, I'm going to give myself 45 minutes to ingest good content just to see where it takes me? It's mind-boggling because people make excuses, and excuses are just a way to make yourself feel better. They're complete bullshit.
And I think it's the number one skill set for your life. Like, I don't care whether it's personal or professional or whatever it is. You have to understand how you communicate. Then you need to understand how to be able to alter that communication for other people to receive it. Because, as a person in leadership, or as a person that's responsible for other people, or as a person that's responsible for a relationship, if you are communicating and the other people are not receiving the information, that is your responsibility, not theirs. It's not their fault that they don't know. You have to figure out a way to get them to know, to get them to be able to understand it. And that's understanding not only what your primary form of communication is, but how you're able to come at it from different angles and different perspectives, which Jen had touched on a little bit during our women's event Thursday night. So I'm really excited for her to have 30 minutes to dive in, and I'm excited about it.
I'll leave you with one thought. My process early in my career was to devour everything and pick one thing out of all the things I was devouring and build my own system. My 27 rules are nothing more than I was willing to intake stuff, reorg it, and say, these are the things that are important to me. So it was Zig Ziglar, Og Mandino, all of the greats, who were, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, who I got to meet early. I didn't just go, hey, Tony Robbins said it, so I'm going to do it. And I start out every one of my presentations with, do me a favor, just listen to what I say and take one thing and put it into practice for 30 days. If it works, do another, take one from somebody else. So I'm super excited about sitting in with Jen as well. Hopefully you'll all join us. Boom. Anything else to close out today? It's good to be back. I feel the
great
energy.
Tuesday. Glad to have you back on the Huddle. Didn't realize that it had been so many days already. So glad to have you back. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Nudelberg Daily Huddle. We've seen great engagement over there already. So great job moving over there if you guys are having problems on LinkedIn. But those are the two places to find us. Glad to be back. Glad to be back in the saddle with you. Let's get down to business.
Let's get down.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.